Good morning, everyone. This is lecture number 11, and this is going to be the last class on units and dimensions. We will be finishing up with the last topic and solving some questions from here and there, taking the complete course into our picture. Okay, so let's have a quick think of what we were discussing in the last class. In the last class, we were discussing about the limitations of dimension analysis, where we can't use dimension analysis and what dimension analysis cannot give us. It cannot give us the value of the number that occurs in a equation, so we cannot get the exact equation. What we can get is a equation which is possible because the number in that equation cannot be found out using dimension analysis. Same thing written in a different way. If a physical quantity depends on sine, cosine, log, exponential functions, all these are purely numbers. These are purely numbers. So if a quantity depends on these numbers, we will not be able to find out the exact formula for the physical quantity. Remember, all these things, limitations, they are not going to come probably as direct questions. They will come as indirect questions. They will ask you in certain way, and then you will have to understand how and why the question is framed in that particular way. So we have seen two limitations of dimension analysis. Let us move on to the third limitation of dimensional analysis. What will be the next limitation of dimensional analysis? Number three. Limitation number three. Limitation number three. We have seen that if there is a number, we cannot find out the exact formula. Again, what is the next limitation that you think should come? Dimension analysis can only be used Dimension analysis can only be used if the physical quantity, if the physical quantity depends on other quantities by multiplication or power function only. By multiplication or power function only. So it will be useful if I have dependency of a physical quantity based on multiplication of those quantities. For example, if I have f is equal to m raised to the power of x, v raised to the power y, and r raised to the power z, f, let us say, standing for force, m standing for mass, v standing for velocity, and r standing for the distance, we can find out a possible formula for force if it depends like this. It depends on multiplication. So this type of question, this type of physical quantity can be found out or can be derived. Rough formula can be derived using dimension analysis. Do we understand this? We have done that. Yes or no? So if the relation is of this type, we can find out, we can derive the relation. But let us say and take a very common example of this relation, s is equal to ut plus half at square, which is going to come very soon in the next chapter that we are going to do. If the relation is in the form of addition, as you can see, there is an addition ka sign here. Now, this relation cannot be derived using dimension analysis. We cannot derive it because there is a plus sign coming here or a minus sign coming there. So this equation you cannot derive using dimension analysis. You can only check whether this equation can be correct, may be correct, or it may not be correct. Do we understand this? So dimension analysis only works if the dependency is of this type where you have only multiplication wala terms coming into the picture and there should not be any addition or subtraction wala term coming there. Do we understand this? Yes or no? So this is the third limitation of dimension analysis. Are we noting it, everyone? Are we noting it? Have we noted this down? Can I move forward? Okay, this was limitation number 3. I hope you have noted it down. Let us move on to the fourth limitation of dimensional analysis. Now, what is the fourth limitation of dimension analysis? Now, in whatever questions we have solved, apart from that JEE wala question that we saw, most of the quantities, wherever we use dimension analysis, wherever we derived formula for dimension analysis, the quantity was depending only on 3 quantities. Because in mechanics, we only use 3 quantities, 3 fundamental quantities: mass, length, and time. M, L, and T. Whatever questions we have solved in this entire chapter, we only had 3 equations. One equation for M, one equation for L, and one equation for T. Do we understand this? Up till now, whatever questions we have done, we only could make 3 equations because there were only 3 fundamental quantities: M, L, and T. That means the maximum possible number of equation in mechanics that we can make are only 3. Now, if you get a quantity which depends on more than 3 quantities in mechanics, we will not be able to find out the formula because we only have 3 equations. So that is one of the limitations of dimensional analysis in mechanics. When I say in mechanics, that means we are dealing with only 3 fundamental quantities, which is M, L, and T. In mechanics, it only has M, N, and T. If a physical quantity, if a PQ means physical quantity, depends on 4 or greater than 4 physical quantities, then dimension analysis can't be used. Then dimension analysis can't be used to derive the formula. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Then dimension analysis cannot be used to derive the formula. Let me say it with an example. For example, if I have a question that force, it depends on mass, velocity, and r being radius or distance. Now, if I give you this information that force depends on mass, velocity, and radius, can you derive a possible formula in this case? Can we derive a possible formula for force in this case? Yes or no? Yes, it only depends on 3 quantities, 1, 2, and 3. We can use dimension analysis to find out a possible formula for this force. But if I change the question, my dear friends, if I make the question as force depends on mass, velocity, acceleration, and r. If I put the question in this way, that I found out that the force acting on a body depends on these four quantities: mass, velocity, acceleration, and r. Now can I use dimensional analysis to find out a possible formula for this force? Yes or no? Now from this four quantities, I will only get three equations: one for m, one for L, and one for T. I will only get three equations, but there are four quantities, and therefore I cannot use dimensional analysis to find out the relation in this case. Do we understand this? So dimensional analysis becomes not useful, or it is limited when we have more than three quantities appearing in the equation, because we only will have three equations. To solve for more quantities, we will need the other. We have got seven fundamental quantities. We will need dependence on other quantities as well. That was the question that came in JEE of this year. I hope you are noting it down. This is limitation number 4. This is limitation number 4. Have you noted it down? Limitation number 4. Anyone has noted this down? Shall I move ahead? Okay. That takes us to the next point. Limitations of dimension analysis, point number 5. And what is point number 5? If dimensions of a quantity are given, if dimensions of a physical quantity is known, the physical quantity may not be unique, may not be unique. The physical quantity may not be unique as more than one physical quantities can have same dimensions, and we have seen a lot of physical quantities which have the same dimension but they are not same. That means just looking at the dimension which is given to you, you cannot say with confidence which physical quantity are we talking about, because there can be more than one physical quantity whose dimensions are same, but those quantities are absolutely different from each other. So looking at the dimension of a physical quantity, I cannot say with confidence, oh, this is the dimension, so this quantity must be this much. No, because there could be another quantity with the same dimension. The best example for this is this example: work, energy, and torque. These three quantities, this is the best example. These three quantities have the same dimension: m L square T minus 2. These three quantities have the same dimension: m L square T minus 2. But trust me, beta, they are not the same physical quantities. Work is work, energy is energy. It's one more. There's one thing that work can be converted into energy, energy can be converted into work, but that does not mean that they are the same quantities. Work is different, energy is different. The units may be same, the dimensions may be same, but they are not the same quantities. Torque is a completely different quantity altogether. Torque cannot be converted into work. Energy cannot be converted into torque. So it's a completely different quantity. Looking at the dimension, I cannot say which quantity are we talking about. So this is another limitation of dimensional analysis. Do we understand this? Okay, then there is a very simple one which does not need any explanation. It can. This is number 6. It does not tell. It means dimension analysis. It does not tell us if a given physical quantity is a scalar or vector. So looking at the dimension of a physical quantity, we will not know what quantity is that. That is the first thing, point number 5. We will definitely also not know whether it's a scalar or vector. It has got nothing to do with dimension. It has got nothing to do with the direction of that quantity. It just tells us what fundamental quantities are present there. That's it. That's the only use. That's the use that we must understand. So, do we understand this? Okay. Now, this officially finishes your units and dimension wala entire chapter. I'll give you 2 minutes here. I hope you have written the notes of this entire chapter. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Go through the entire chapter. Go through the entire chapter right from the first class where we discuss what are physical quantities, to what are dimensions, to what is dimension analysis, so what is the use of dimension analysis, use number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through the examples in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then if you have any doubts, please ask your questions. After this time, after 2 minutes, we will start solving some questions from the previous year and all the questions put together. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Go through the entire chapter. Everyone must go through the entire chapter. After 2 minutes, we will start solving questions. If you have any doubts, you can come up with that doubt. You can ask that doubt in the time that you are getting now. Go ahead and read the entire chapter from your notes that you have written. Have you gone through the notes, beta? Shall we start solving questions? The last set of questions coming, and it will have all types of question, single option, multiple option from the entire chapter, questions from previous year, this year, that year, everything. And here comes the first question of this category. This one. Which equation cannot be derived using dimensional analysis? There are four equations given to you. Which equations cannot be derived using dimension analysis? Remember, I will not tell you whether this question is single option or multiple option. It can be a single option, it can be a multiple option. You will have to choose it. You
A
will have to
D.
tell me. Yes, beta. Which equation cannot be derived?
A D.
Yes, tell me.
A D.
A,
D.
D. What about B? You can derive B. F is mv square by r. M is mass, V is velocity, R is radius. What about C? Can you derive C? Can you derive C?
Yes, sir.
No, you cannot derive C. Why you cannot derive C? Because in equation number C, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's the equation of mechanics. P is pressure, M is mass, V is velocity, R is radius, A is area. We cannot derive this equation using dimension analysis. So the correct options are A, C, and D. Do we understand this? You will have to remember that you will have to use everything that you have learned together in the last part of this class, which is today. Today we are going to deal with all types of questions that can or has come. And you might see that the question that have come may be pretty simple compared to what we have done in the class. Okay, shall I move on to the next one? Are we ready? Has everyone understood the previous question? Question number 1, yes or no? Shall I move on to the next one? Question number 2. Okay. Anyone has noted down this question? Here comes the next one, a question from JEE. Multiple choice. It can be a single option. It can be a multiple choice. You will have to tell me which one is there. You have to look at all the options. Just getting one answer correct is not enough. Which of the following sets cannot enter into fundamental quantities in any newly proposed system of units? So we are proposing a new system of units and we want 3 fundamental quantities for that system. Which of them cannot enter? Remember, the question can be a negative question can be a positive question. What I mean by negative question, what I mean by positive question. In negative question, they ask you what is not possible. In positive question, they ask you what is possible. This is a negative question, what is not possible. And your time starts now, my dear friends. Which is possible? If you can do it that way, tell me which is possible. Then obviously the other answers are which is not possible. Which is possible? Which system is possible? Now remember, you'll have to apply whatever you have learned in the entire class. Remember, I told you about when we make a new system, what are the things that you must care about. So which system is possible? Option A, is it possible to have length, mass and velocity as your fundamental system? Yes or no? Is it possible to have option A as your fundamental system? Yes or no? It is possible to have mass, length and velocity. If I talk about option A, mass, velocity and length, they are independent of each other. I cannot derive from mass from velocity. I cannot derive mass from length. They are independent of each other. Every quantity M, L and T must appear at least once. It is appearing at least once and therefore this system is possible. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Do we understand this? Yes or no? Okay. Now we look at the second system, which is B. Pressure, density and velocity. My dear friend, this system is not possible. Why is this system not possible? Because I can derive pressure from density and velocity. Pressure can be derived from density and velocity. So that is why this system is not possible, because I have a formula and you will get this formula when you grow up. You will get this formula. Pressure is, what is the SI unit of pressure? What is the dimension of pressure? Tell me. Dimension of pressure is
ml power minus 1 t power minus 2.
ml minus 1 t raised to the power minus 2. That is pressure. Density is how much? ml minus 1. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Velocity is how much? L t minus 1. Yes or no?
Sir.
Pressure can be
Yep.
derived using rho and velocity. Rho is ml minus 1 or ml minus 3. Rho is ml minus 1 or ml minus rho is density beta. Rho is ml minus 3. I can derive pressure from rho and v. And the very simple example, I don't want to derive this entire thing. Do you know energy or work done is half mv square? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, this is energy. Now, from this energy wala thing, if I divide it by the volume, energy, if I divide it by volume, that becomes your pressure. Now, how you are going to understand these things? With practice, you will be able to understand this, or you can use dimension analysis to find out whether pressure can be written as rho or V. Actual formula is pressure is half rho V square, and we will see this formula in your chapter on fluids. We will see this chapter. We will see this formula in your chapter on fluids. So this is not possible. You will have to understand this. I have one more way in which you can find out whether three sets will make a system or not, but that is using matrices and determinants. Do you know matrices and determinants? You know matrices and determinants? No, that is why I have not told you that formula. That formula is using matrices and determinants. In that, if you put the values of ml and t, if you put the powers of ml and t, you can find out whether a system is possible or not. I will tell you that formula when time comes. So formula number B is not possible. Anyways, if I come to C, remember whenever we are solving questions on the entire chapter, there might be one or two things that you don't know, because to make formula from whatever we know, because we have just started our journey, most of the question that has come in JEE, we will not be able to do them right now because they will have terms which are going to come from the chapters which are not done. Do we understand this? We understand this or not? Therefore, we can do only a very, very selective question. And this option B was one of those options where if we knew pressure, rho and V correlation, we would have ticked it. Not possible. Anyways, let us move on to the third option. Option C, force, velocity, and time. Can you get force from velocity and time? This is simple to understand. Can you get time from force and velocity? Yes or no? Can you get this? Force, velocity, and time. These three quantities. Can you derive force from velocity or velocity from time or force from velocity and time? You cannot derive this, and therefore this system is definitely possible. So option number C is possible. We move on to option number D, force, momentum and time. I know you that you don't know relation between force, momentum and time, but you must know force is rate of change of momentum. Yes or no? That means force can be derived by momentum divided by time. If you do momentum divided by time, you will get force. That means force, momentum, and time are not independent. That means this system. I've said the entire reverse. Force, momentum, and time are not dependent, and therefore this system is not possible. If I have three physical quantities and they are dependent on each other, the system is not possible. If they are not dependent on each other, then the system is possible. Do we understand this? Out of this, I think option number A, C, and D, they were things that we have probably known or we learned. Option number B was probably an option where option number B was probably an option where we did not know it. Remember, pressure can be written as half rho V square. And if you remember this, then option number B, you understand that option number B is not possible. There is one more way, but I cannot tell you that way because you don't know determinants at this point in time. So when you know determinants, I'll tell you the next way. Shall we move on to the next question? Remember, to get a question where we know everything may not be possible, there might be one or two options which might be slightly out of your knowledge, but we will have to understand it to make a question that is strictly from five or six things that we have seen is not possible. Let us see. And again, you have to find out whether it's a positive question or a negative question, what they are asking in the question. Again, most of the multiple choice question are taken from previous year JEEs. Then remember in a JEE, and when I say JEE, I mean JEE Advanced. A question can be in multiple choice type, but it can only have one option correct. Do we know this? Yes or no? Multiple choice does not mean that it only has one option correct. Multiple choice, more than one option correct. Multiple choice can have only one option correct as well. This is the next question. Again, this is how questions are framed. The entire theory is known to you. You have to tell me which is the correct option. If A and B are two physical quantities having different dimensions, so A and B have different dimensions. Which of the following can denote, that means it is a positive question, they are asking you what is possible. Which of the following can denote a new physical quantity?
C and D, sir.
Which one, beta?
C and D, sir.
C and D definitely will denote. C and D definitely will denote different physical quantities. Yes, my dear friend. What about A and what about B? If you give an answer, you also tell me why the other answers are not possible. Yes, bacha, tell me why is A and B not possible?
Sir, we know that same physical quantities can be added or subtracted, but in option A, different.
How do you know it is different? A is not added with B, beta. A is added with A cube by B, and A cube by B may be same as A. Yes or no? That is how they confuse you in the examination hall. A and B are different, but does that mean that A cube by B cannot be same as A? Yes or no? No or yes? A cube by B can be same as A. Yes or no?
Sir.
Very simple example. A can be length. A can be length. B can be volume. So L cube becomes volume. Volume by volume is dimensionless. So, are you getting my point, beta? A plus A cube by B, I cannot say with full confidence whether they will have same dimension or they will have different dimension. So, A plus A cube by B can have same dimension. Do we understand this? A and B are different, but A cube by B can be same as A. But one thing is definitely out of the box is option B. Why is option B out of the box? Because exponential matlab e to the power something of A by B is not possible because A and B are having same dimension. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Can I have a sense from everyone that we understand this? Remember, these are multiple choice questions that we are dealing, my dear friends, and they will have confusing options. And trust me, we know very limited things. To find out questions in that limited things is a big task, but I've done my best to get you questions which only have what we have done. And comes the next one, my dear friends. I hope everyone is ready for the next one. This is question number 4. The more the questions we do, the better you are going to become. And this is the question number 4. The dimensional formula of product and quotient of two physical quantities. This is how they frame the questions. Remember, my dear friends, it's a multiple choice question, but that does not mean, remember, that it will have always have more than one options correct. The dimensional formula of product and quotient of two physical quantities A and B are given by something something. The quantities A and B are, obviously this can be more than one option correct. It can be more than or only one option correct as well. You will have to gauge. You will have to give me. Quantities A and B respectively are. So you have to choose, you have to do and do it fast. Remember, JEE is about speed and accuracy. Time is running out. Yes, bacha. Do we have the answer? Which is the option? You just have to see
B.
which one.
B.
Option B is correct, my dear friends. That is what the answer sheet says. Answer option B. A is force and B is displacement, my dear friend. So we will check each and every option fatafat. Option number A is force. So A becomes M L T minus 2 fatafat, and B becomes L T minus 1. You multiply A with B. You multiply A with B, you will not get this option. First option you will not get, hence A is wrong. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Then you, since B is the correct option, we will forget B. Let us see the option C. A is taken as momentum. Momentum is mass into velocity, my dear friends. So ml t minus 1, mass into velocity, and B is given as displacement. So B becomes L. If I multiply A with B, I will not get the first dimension. So this is wrong. Do you understand it? It is very simple. This is how you're going to do it. Anyone got this? Yes or no? No or yes? I'm not seeing all the hands being raised up. Take A, you take B, and you just see. Everyone got it? Shall I move on to the next one, my dear friends? Okay.
Sir.
Remember, and I always say this to my students. In a JEE, the most difficult question, when I say JEE, I obviously mean JEE Advanced. In a JEE, the most difficult question is a question of multiple option correct. Will take the most of your time. It will test the most of your the knowledge, and it is also going to give you most negative numbers. Multiple choice. Only one option may be correct. More than one option may be correct. If the dimensions of a physical quantity are given as m raised to the power x, l raised to the power y, and t raised to the power of z, I hope you can see this. M is raised to the power x. M is raised to the power x. L is raised to the power of y, my dear friends. And t is raised to the power z. Then this physical quantity may be dung, 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 A, B, C, D. Four options. Four options, my dear friends.
Yes, sir.
Yes, bacha.
A.
Only A. Remember, this is a multiple choice question, my dear friend. The most difficult question in the JEE is multiple choice. And you cannot get the answer so quickly. Because you may have to check all the option, my dear friend. And if you do not check all the options, then
A and
you,
D.
yes,
A and D.
A and B. Now you have one more
A and D.
A and B. That is
D.
A and
D.
that is wrong, my dear friends. And you get -2. So congratulations. Remember, multiple choice gives you the most negatives. -2. Yes, my dear friends. M0 L1 T -2. So the first option is definitely correct. Yes or no? No, yes. Anyone would agree with this? Dimension of G is very simple. The second option is atmospheric pressure, my dear friend. Pressure. What is the dimension of pressure? And you just now told me the dimension of pressure was, sir, ml -1 t -2. So how can this option be correct, my dear friend? This is an absolutely wrong option. So you got -2. Sad day in the life of an IITian, future IITian. You could not know, you did not know the dimension of pressure. Let us move ahead in life. Option C, correct or not? Option C is correct. Momentum ml t -1. A and C are correct up till now. B was not correct. That gave us -2. Slap on the face. D. D is correct. So the answers are A, C, and D. That will give you +4. A and B will give you -2. So the choice is yours, my dear friends. What do you want to do? Take the +2, +4, or take the -2? Now remember, whatever questions have come in JEE, and I must tell you that most of the question I'll show you. The problem is we may not know everything in that question because we have only studied 4 or 5 terms up till now, but I will try my best to give you a question where probably you understand everything. And this is a question from my days, from my IIT 1997, my dear friends. JEE 1997 had this question. That was the first time this question appeared in a JEE. It has appeared multiple times after that, but this was the first time it appeared. JEE 1997. It had no option, so you just have to get the answer. It was not a single option, multiple option, it was just a question. That time IIT used to give everything. IIT-JEE. That was the name of the exam in my times. Indian Institute of Technology Joint Entrance Examination. 5 IITs. 6th one has just opened. No one used to go there. IIT Guwahati. So for me, IITs are still 5. I don't consider other IITs as IITs. They are fake IITs. Okay. The equation of a state of a real gas is given by dung dung dung. PV and T are pressure, volume, and temperature. R is the universal gas constant. What are the dimension of constant A in the above equation? There were no options. It was fill in the blanks. JEE used to have fill in the blanks at that point in time. What is the answer for the fill in the blanks? Ah? No one knows? Simple. Yes. What is? I think we have done this question also, bhai. I think we have done this question before, and still we don't know the answer. Sad states of affair. See, if I can go back in time, I have a time machine. Can I go back in time and see whether we have done this question or not? Sad, sad, sad,
Sir,
sad.
T minus 4.
Yes.
MLT power minus 4.
Okay. Let me see. I was just checking something whether we have done this question before or not. Yes, yes, we have done this question, my dear friends. And I have gone back in the past 5 or 6 classes back, and this is what we did. P plus A by V square. See, I can go back in the past. This was the question that we did. P plus A by V square into V minus B is a constant. What is the dimension of A? Dimension of A, my dear friend, is P into V square. And that is the answer. Do you understand this? Yes or no? No, yes. P is pressure. We know the dimension of pressure. M L minus 1 T minus 2. We know the dimension of volume. L cube. Multiply pressure with volume squared. And we have our answer. Do we understand this? Yes or no? No, yes. See, this was the question that appeared in IIT, and this can very well appear in the coming JEE main as well, because they are just chapoing question from everywhere. Now, as you can see, it becomes very difficult for me to get you questions because we just don't know the quantities that are appearing in this question. But if you had known these quantities, these are pretty simple questions, and I'll just give you an example of this question. And it's a very, very famous question that has come many times in many ways. The dimension of half epsilon naught E square. Now, the only problem is we have not heard these terms. We have not heard this term, but we will get to know about these terms in your 12th standard. Half epsilon naught E square. This gentleman has a dimension of E by V, where E stands for energy and V stands for volume, and you will be doing a lot of questions based on this. So it is simply half epsilon naught E square. The other brother of this thing is V square by 2 mu naught. Now you would be wondering, sir, what is E, what is epsilon naught? Epsilon naught is known as permittivity of free space, 12 standard. E is known as electric field, 12 standard. B is known as magnetic field, 12 standard. Mu naught is known as permeability of free space, 12 standard. That is the problem that we will have in dealing with most of the problems that are going to come, because those terms are alien to us right now. But you can easily find out half epsilon naught e square will be used so many times in the class that you will be knowing this in a flash. Do we understand this? That is the problem, that the JE will have questions which we have not done up till now. And this question that I'm going to show you, I just saw this question coming in this year ka JE mains ka paper multiple times. This this question came in JE last year ka JE, yeah, this year ka JE, depending on how you are seeing it. This question, if you had the choice of seeing this question, if you have seen the last year ka, this year ka JE ka paper in multiple in multiple in multiple in multiple in multiple in multiple sessions, this question have come in different ways. Why this has come? Because this is a question from previous year IIT. Now the only problem with this question also is that we do not know certain terms that have come in this equation, because they are not from mechanics, this is from heat. The term that we don't know is the Boltzmann constant. One term that we don't know is the Boltzmann constant. The other term that has still not come is temperature. Since we do not know these two terms, we will not be able to solve this question. But if we had known these terms, this is as simple as it gets. This is the simplest question in the entire universe. And this same question, and if you have JEE main ka paper of this year, have you seen JEE main ka this session ka, I mean last session ka question papers, have you seen them? Well, if you would have seen them, you would have found this question appearing in multiple times. So remember, while once we are into 12th standard, I will be taking this topic once again. Not the entire topic. I will be taking questions of this topic once again. Do we understand this? Because there will be terms that we don't know, and those terms have appeared in the question. And right now we cannot solve this question because those terms are not known. Any question that I get has terms which we don't know, and that is the problem. That is the problem with most of the question. Most of the question from previous year JE will have the entire curriculum of 11th and 12th, and we cannot expect them to have just one MLT. You see, which of the following sets have different dimension? Now, this is a very simple question. This had appeared in JEE of 2015. My JEE, IIT-JEE. That was one on IIT-JEE. Now, if you have known all these terms, it was very easy to find out the dimension. At least one you can do. This option, you can find out whether they are having the same dimensions or different. You may not be able to find out the others, but tell me about this. Do they have the same dimension or do they have different dimensions? Option C is the one that we can do now. Does it have same dimension or does it have different dimension? Heat, work done, and energy. Same dimension or different dimensions? This is same, this is different. They have the same dimensions. So this option is correct. Multiple option. This is same. And if I look at option A, we know pressure, but we do not know Young's modulus. We also may not know stress. Stress is same thing as pressure. Force per unit area is stress. Young's modulus is again dimensionally same as pressure. So this option is also same. They have the same dimension. We cannot solve this unless we know all the terms. Do we understand this? Now the terms on the right hand side, we are alien. These terms are alien to us. So we just cannot solve them. That is the problem. Okay? Do we get this? And any question that comes in dimension, my dear friends, is the easiest question in the entire universe. And in previous year JE, you will see that there used to be a question always, and that is why this question has come many times in JE main, which they always used to have a question where they used to ask dimension analysis. See, this is from JE of 1995. similar question, and therefore these type of questions are asked in JEE Main as well as JEE Advanced of this year. I showed you the question from JEE Advanced of this year, and you can check the question paper of any JEE. You will always find a question of units and dimensions in that particular paper. And as you can see, the chapter is very small. The only thing is you probably do not know all the terms. So on that note, I am going to wind up this chapter. Units and dimensions are physically and officially over from my side. Whatever you could know at this point in time, I have told much more than what is required. Rest of the things, once we get into 12th standard, once we know these terms, I will get back. One day we will do all these questions and we will wrap up finally units and dimensions for 11th as well as 12th. That's it from my side. I hope to see you in the next class with the next topic. If you have any problems, any doubts, any confusions, then always come up to me. I'll see you in the next class. Take care. God bless you. Have a nice day, beta.